Prime Field.
Welcome. A season opener produced a paradox. UConn won 79-66 over number 20 Louisville. The scoreboard read decisive. The box score told a different story. UConn made 4 of 26 three-pointers. That is 15.4%. The Huskies led by 25 after one quarter. The lead shrank to 13 by the final buzzer. This documentary asks a single precise question. How can a team that still won so comfortably show vulnerabilities that matter in March? The answer lies in a sequence of turning points, a dominant start, a shattered perimeter, an interior counterattack, a late-game ebb, and the unresolved questions about depth, stamina, and role definition. The story begins with the opening sprint. UConn began the game with force. The first quarter ended 25-9. AZ Fudd and KK Arnold hit early threes that ignited an 8-0 run. Louisville struggled to find the basket. The Cardinals shot 3 of 18 in the opening period. UConn shot roughly 55% from the floor in that same frame. The halftime margin was 44-23. On the surface, the narrative was simple. Elite defense and efficient offense. Underneath that narrative was a contradiction. UConn's three-point shooting had already been poor. The Huskies were 4 of 26 from deep for the night. The early lead obscured the fact that the perimeter was not producing. That fact would shape the remainder of the game. The answer to how UConn won is straightforward. The team controlled the paint. UConn outscored Louisville 50-18 in points in the paint. Sarah Strong led the effort. She scored 21 points on 9 of 17 shooting, added 9 rebounds and 5 assists, and played 38 minutes. UConn generated 15 fast break points. The defense produced 8 steals and forced 8 turnovers. Those elements created easy scoring opportunities that reduced the need for perimeter accuracy. Bench scoring helped in a limited way. Kaylee Heckel contributed 14 points on 6 of 12 shooting, but the core of the victory was interior conversion and transition offense. When three-pointers fail, the paint and the break became the engine. Statistically, the perimeter collapse was stark. The team attempted 26 three-pointers and made 4. That converts to 15.4%. Individual attempts reflected the same pattern. AZ Fudd went 2 of 8 from deep. Ashlyn Shade shot 1 of 7 from distance. Sarah Strong attempted 3 threes and made none. The rest of the roster combined for negligible production from long range. UConn's two-point shooting offset the misses. The Huskies made 35 of 78 two-point attempts. An overall two-point conversion rate that kept the offense moving, but a 23 percentage point gap from the previous season's team three-point rate, 38.2% in 2024-25, is not noise. It is a structural deviation that requires examination. The three-point shot serves more than the scoreboard. It creates spacing. It forces defenders to step out. Furthermore, it opens driving lanes and grants post players room to operate. When the long ball is cold, defenses can sag. Against Louisville, sagging defenders allowed UConn to attack the paint successfully. But the same tactic becomes riskier against elite tournament defenses. The 2024-25 preseason championship team shot 38.2% from 3 over that season. AZ Fudd shot 43.6% from 3 last season, 79 of 181. Those marks change how opponents defend. When current results drop to 15.4%, the math inverts. Opponents can prioritize clogging the lane and contesting mid-range opportunities. The consequence is fewer open looks and a more predictable offense. That predictability in March can be decisive. Defense carried UConn through this game. 8 steals and 8 forced turnovers created offense and controlled the tempo. The defense produced transition opportunities that reduced dependency on perimeter accuracy. Yet defensive effort incurs physical cost. Sarah Strong played 38 minutes. AZ Fudd logged 38 minutes. KK Arnold played 29. Those minute totals matter. High-intensity defense and transition wrestling draw energy. Against Louisville, the depth cushion was not tested fully. The Huskies could rely on starters to sustain pressure. In tournament play, when opponents match intensity and size, such sustained exertion can expose rotation limitations. The game therefore exposed both a strength and its potential trade-off. The arc of the game shifted after halftime. The third quarter was even, 17-17, and the fourth quarter belonged to Louisville, 26-18. A lead that reached 28 points at one juncture narrowed to 10 with 2 over 22 remaining. Louisville's late 10-0 spurt compressed the margin and signaled that adjustments by the Cardinals were effective for a period. The causes were multiple. UConn's perimeter failures, a defensive intensity that ebbed, and an opponent willing to change pace and pressure ball handlers. When Louisville made its pushes, the Huskies responded with timely plays. Sarah Strong scored consecutive baskets to halt momentum. AZ Fudd hit a critical three with 28 seconds left. The comeback attempt failed. The sequence, however, exposed how quickly a large leg can contract when certain variables align. Depth emerged as a central theme. UConn's bench produced 16 points. Heckel accounted for the Lions' share with 14. Ice Brady played 9 minutes and recorded no points. Jana El Alfi played 7 minutes and scored 2 points. The starters accounted for 63 of 79 points. When starting minutes accumulate early in the season, questions arise about sustainability. Tournament stretches demand reliable bench scoring, efficient rotations, and the ability to rest key contributors without losing effectiveness. If bench production remains limited, starters may face greater fatigue in late-game moments. Fatigue can reduce decision-making speed, defensive sharpness, and the ability to execute adjustments. The opener therefore illuminated a practical risk for long-term performance. 3 precise questions followed from the box score. First, were the missed threes poor shots or good looks that didn't fall? Second, does the roster have consistent perimeter threats beyond a core 2? Third, what role adjustments will maintain spacing when the long ball is cold? Against Louisville, attempts were taken across the roster. If the misses were mostly contested, the remedy is structural. Better movement, screening, and shot creation. If the misses were ill-advised, then selection and discipline are the immediate fixes. The personnel picture matters as well. Transfers provided early bench competence, yet historical three-point ability varied. The coaching staff faces tactical choices, alter reads in game, adjust lineups to enhance spacing or emphasize interior play while cultivating perimeter consistency over time. Each path has trade-offs. A single opener cannot predict March outcomes. It can, however, generate scenario probabilities. Against a ranked Louisville, a 15.4% three-point night still produced a 13-point victory. Against the elite, teams that defend with discipline and possess depth, the same shooting profile compresses the margin dramatically. The documentary frames 3 hypothetical pressures. 1. An Elite 8 opponent that neutralizes transition points and collapses on post players. 2. An opponent that utilizes effective game planning to force UConn to take contested long twos. 3. A high-pressure tournament environment where starters accrue foul trouble and bench minutes surge in importance. In each scenario, visible weaknesses from the opener, perimeter inefficiency, and limited bench scoring would magnify. The opener therefore offers a useful stress test. UConn's response to Louisville's runs deserves attention. When the Cardinals reduced the lead late, the Huskies executed plays that stopped momentum. Strong's baskets and Fudd's late three were game-defining. That sequence indicates situational poise and tactical correction. Yet the timing of adjustments matters. Louisville's halftime and late-game changes found temporary success. The speed at which UConn recognized and countered those changes will be instructive as the season progresses. Coaching decisions about substitution patterns, defensive coverage changes, and late-game offensive sets will determine whether similar opponent adjustments in higher-stakes games become sustained threats. The opener showed both an ability to respond and moments when responses lagged. The record is factual. A season opener, the first game after roster turnover, a championship team in a new configuration. Those facts produce logical consequences without necessitating speculation. First-game dynamics can affect confidence. Cold shooting can create visible hesitation in shot selection. Heavy starter minutes can create physical and mental fatigue. Opponents learn from tape. The Cardinals had film of UConn's early rotations by halftime. Those elements inform in-game adaptations. Notably, the Huskies closed decisively. The observable result was both a win and a corrective exercise in competitive dynamics. The evidence supports measured concern rather than alarm. The final minutes contained both clarity and ambiguity. UConn's defense momentarily loosened. Louisville's offense found rhythm late. UConn's stars closed the contest. The final margin, 13 points, was not in question at the buzzer. The immediate takeaway is balanced. The Huskies remain a strong team with interior options and transition capability. Simultaneously, a dysfunction in perimeter shooting and a limited bench footprint surfaced as material issues. The opener functioned as a diagnostic. It revealed strengths that secure victory and weaknesses that merit correction. The season will test which of these elements dominate under sustained pressure. The legacy of this game will depend on patterns, not a single box score. If the three-point struggles were an isolated night, the game will be a footnote. If they recur against elite defenses, the implications will be concrete and measurable in postseason outcomes. The match against Louisville served two roles. It was a successful title defense opener. It was also an evaluative event. The metrics are clear. 4 of 26 from 3. 50 points in the paint, 8 steals, 15 fast break points, heavy starter minutes. Those numbers will inform coaching choices. They will shape rotation decisions and practice emphasis. In broader terms, the game offers a case study in how elite programs adapt when a principal weapon is temporarily absent. The Huskies demonstrated capacity to win in alternative ways. The question that remains is whether those alternatives will be sufficient when all variables tighten in March. This account will close where it began, with a simple fact and an open inquiry. UConn won. The victory contained a warning. The season will reveal whether that warning was a momentary fracture or the first crease in a championship window.
Prime Field.